Hello, and welcome to another edition of Straight from the Training Ground, the podcast where we share our love for the beautiful game and the people out in their communities doing beautiful things. We're very delighted this week to bring to you Lalo, the organizer of La Comunidad in LA, the El Sereno area, more namely. They provide some great pickup soccer, street soccer opportunities for kids and people in their communities. Lalo is the organizer. He's kind of taken over, which we'll get into here shortly. But it has existed in the El Sereno area since 2005. So, Lalo, thanks a lot, man, for taking the time to join us and talk a little soccer.
No, I mean, I appreciate you guys having me out. You guys, I love you. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, I think it's important to, connect everybody, especially with like free to play spots as much as we can. So, I mean, I appreciate everything you're doing.
Well, we try to do what we can. So let's get right into it. What do you provide in your community?
Yeah, so I mean, we are a local spot in El Sereno, more predominantly like it's a small town in Los Angeles. And we essentially work with the park to kind of create a free to play spot for anybody to just come by and enjoy footy. In I guess you can say in its basic form, from anything from like futsal to street soccer and anything in between. But it's really about creating a community space for them.
And on the screen right now, you can see the schedule. And I urge everybody, we'll get into this more shortly, but follow them on social media. Lalo, it seems you guys are active almost every day on social media, at least it appears to me. Is that a major emphasis or something you try to really concentrate on to spread the word?
Yeah, I mean, when we started, we usually do like one weekly videos, but I mean, as we have kind of grown, there's just so much happening on the courts, from our the league that happens on Wednesdays to other events that we've had recently. Like it's just it turned into something just to document what we're doing, to kind of show out as many of the players that we have showing up every day.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And like I said, make sure you check them out on social media, especially on Instagram, El Sereno, La Comunidad. So when and why did you start this organization? As you were talking, we talked a little bit off camera before we started recording. You kind of told me you sort of took this over, explain that process. And then what was kind of the motivation from everyone there to start this?
Yeah. Well, we officially started in 2005. This group was originally organized and hosted by a person named Tony Jimenez, who was kind of like our coach in a sense. He kind of kept everybody in line, kept everybody together. He would be the ones to bring out the goals and everything. So really, he's the one that kind of brought all of us together in one way or another. And it wasn't until after COVID, when things kind of died down and everybody kind of started doing different things and living different aspects of their lives, that I kind of came along and really tried to push this out to everybody else. The same enjoyment that I had, I kind of wanted to make it available and, more importantly, free to the Los Angeles area, which I thought was lacking in large part of the regard. So, I mean, that's really where it started, and that's kind of how we've been trying to keep the movement going.
Well, the key word you said there was free, and that's what we love here on the podcast and also with the soccer neighborhood, which we'll talk about here shortly. As you kind of took that over, and it sounds like you were a player at the beginning yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
What have been some of the biggest challenges you've seen for this organization, and then yourself now kind of taking over the reins?
Yeah, I mean, the thing when we started off, I think we would have like 3v3 games, 4v4 games. So part of it was just deciding on whether or not we want to kind of expand. And that's mainly because a lot of courts over here in Los Angeles, for example, they have a very good or very gray area and broads of like distinction between like organized play. And so obviously if the park or anybody sees like a bunch of people starting to use the grass or wherever you're playing, they then start asking for permits. And that was one of the big struggles of being kicked out in a lot of spots.
Wow.
Even when I wasn't playing with these guys, just finding somewhere to just kick the ball or train or do whatever we wanted to do when we were younger, that was a big problem for us. And so luckily, when we came back after COVID, I was able to get more involved with the Parks and Recs and the park in general, and just really try to kind of do something that not only allows them to take advantage of, but also allow people to take advantage of the community space that's available to us.
Can you go a little bit more into that permit process and explain to people, because I think people that live in various communities, maybe a smaller community, not quite like LA, don't understand, like, what is that like?
So Los Angeles, as you know, it's a big melting pot. So you have a lot of different people coming out, a lot of different clubs, a lot of different ideals in terms of how they think soccer should be played, should be managed, and things like that. So just having to kind of play, in a sense, play the system in a way where you're kind of trying to get a permit while AYSO is happening, which is like the local rec league that everybody kind of already is familiar with, especially when you're younger, to the local leagues that are kind of privately managed, to even Cal South and the bigger club systems that they have here. So just having to find a location without having to pay is difficult because they have so many that are willing to pay for it. And unfortunately, those costs ends up going to the players, for example. So even if you're just trying to kick it with your friends or have fun or just use the goal for a little bit, it kind of makes it impossible for those kind of things.
Sure. Yeah, I can only imagine it. It's hard enough to get something like that started in your community. Yeah. And, on this podcast, we've talked to a lot of people like you so far who have done those same kind of things. And, it's just crazy to think that beyond that, you have to do even more and do permits and fight that process and all those kind of things. I mean, that's just crazy. So how do you hope to improve? It sounds like you're doing, you have a great thing going right now, and you guys have come a long way. You've been around for such a long time, and seeing what I've seen on Instagram and social media, you're making a big impact in your area. What do you hope to improve? How can you continue to improve and expand what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very big on local and community. So we are currently on track to, I mean, we still have like new players coming out every day. So I think that's part of the most important part, just showing people they have alternatives to that pay to play system. And basically just including the local community as much as we can. Like, for example, in the last event, we tried to make it very hyper local, hyper like business, hyper Kickstarter related. So a lot of businesses barely starting up, really trying to get their name out there. We're really big on trying to get them involved as well, because just like us, like that's just the name of the game. It's just a chance that you're trying to offer people to basically show who they are. But in terms of the future, I mean, I'm really hoping to help with, especially with the park, for example, who, I mean, at this point, like they've been very supportive of us, to really try to build up that soccer program that they have at the park and really make it into something that it can be or should be, where you have affordability, you have accessibility, and you have the spaces where players can just show up and play.
Yeah, very important. And, again, it sounds like you're doing a great job. But I love to hear that you're still wanting to improve and do even more in your community. Before we get to the soccer neighborhood, here's the $1 million question. What are your thoughts, and be honest, on the current soccer culture, especially for kids in the United States right now?
Ooh, that's a very...
That's why it's the $1 million question.
That's a long question. I myself, I've been part of the system. So I played in the rec leagues. I played as a club player. I played in the semi-pro leagues. I've coached the youth teams. I've coached the high school teams. And the commonality that I found in every level that I played is just the fact that it's just the amount of hurdles that you have to do in order to improve or try to find something to help you improve, or the resources is just so limiting. It's gotten better. It's gotten a lot better from when I was playing. Just to compare it, when I was a younger player trying to find a spot to play, there were signs in the parks basically saying no soccer on the grass.
So yeah,
that's how crazy it is. I honestly, I wish I would have kept that sign. I wish I would have kept that sign just as a reminder of like what exactly we've come to
some
what
motivation
we are now.
for now.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I see a lot of improvement, especially with the last events and hosting the high school pickups, for example. I see a lot of players that really, really, really are coming through the system. And just because they're playing a lot more, just because we're learning a lot from our mistakes for the most part, we are improving. Now, I still feel like there's a lot of steps that we can be taking to make this a lot better. But I think it really starts with having those free-to-play spaces, having those mini court pitches, and just being able to allow kids to enjoy the sport, really, to develop on their own without overcoaching or without any of the extra baggage that comes with playing in competitive levels.
Excellent. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And we still have a long ways to go, in my opinion, but we greatly appreciate people like you. And I also urge everyone that watches this, check out social media, look on Instagram, different places, because there are a lot of people like you. And I tell some of my friends this all the time. I truly believe that, street soccer, pickup soccer culture is really gaining a lot of ground, a lot of traction around the country, everywhere, not just in large urban areas. And people like you are really starting to understand the value and the need for it for so many kids in our country. So I greatly appreciate that. If you're just joining us, we're here with Lalo from La Comunidad, a pickup soccer, street soccer organization who's doing some great things in the El Sereno community in California, in the LA area. They are part of the Soccer Neighborhood. And if you're not sure what the Soccer Neighborhood is, the Soccer Neighborhood is kind of a joint venture between Straight from the Training Ground and the Soccer Rebellion. We started this about a year and a half ago. And it's a website and an Instagram account where we try to just share people like Lalo and all the great things that they're doing out in their communities. And we try to put all of that under one umbrella. And we try to just give parents and families one place where they can find information about people who are providing pickup soccer, street soccer, free soccer opportunities, or at least very low cost soccer for kids in their communities. So make sure you check out the Soccer Neighborhood. We don't require anything from you other than just sending us the permission to use your logo. And then from there, we just try to do everything we can to promote each other on social media, events like you guys have with La Comunidad, anything that we can do to help and use our network, not just from ourselves, but from everyone that's involved to continue to change the culture of soccer in our country. Lalo, another question here for you real quick. In a perfect world, let's say several years down the road, what would you love to see from your organization in your community, maybe expand to other communities, whatever, but what would you love to see?
I think one of my goals, especially when I started this community, was to kind of use it as a proof of concept for other parks and recs and other other areas that I've been connected with, especially when I was growing up, to kind of show them that a lot of people do want these kind of things, do want to change underutilized spaces into something that everybody can use, not just like single sport spaces like the basketball courts or just a single like tennis court, for example, just like we're doing. Like we kind of showed that you can have the same space and still share it equally. So I'm hoping that a lot of parks do pay attention, especially with the events that we're trying to push out to our local El Sereno rec, that they can do the same thing that we're doing without really too much change or investment for the most part. There's really like no risk to it other than, other than having somebody to organize. So
a little organization and a little hard work. That's
exactly. That's it.
You want to share real quick one or two of your major events, either coming up or something that you're really proud of? I know you have a league and like open courts, but a major event that you've had or might be coming up?
Yeah, so we were luckily chosen or found out by Nike LA to be part of that Nike TOMA movement that they're doing here in LA. We're one of 8 different cities, and honestly, it's been an experience. I've personally learned a lot from it, but it's essentially getting these kids the exposure that you probably would expect from MLS Next or anything of other, like where you're kind of getting scouted and, just being able to provide that kind of experience. But for those that don't know, I guess Nike TOMA is essentially a kind of like a more grassroots level exposure where you have these high school kids playing against each other from different areas, different cities, and what they're trying to do essentially is look for the next big athletes as much as they can. And instead of looking at the already professionals or already in this academy system. They're looking at players who probably got overlooked at one point. And just like you mentioned, like I wouldn't have had these opportunities. So I'm happy to be able to provide these out to them.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah, it's great to hear that. It's great to have that support from someone like Nike and that program. Congrats for being elected, to be a part of that in the LA area. One last question, and we'll get you out of here, Lalo. So someone that watches this, maybe they see you on Instagram in any community. It could be in the Midwest. It could be a small town. It could be Philadelphia, Miami. What advice do you have to them? They have the idea. They're passionate about soccer. Where do they start?
Yeah, I mean, I won't say that we have not had the fortuitous opportunity of being able to find underutilized spaces, but honestly, it's just that if you find an underutilized space, try to convert it into something you want. Believe it or not, like I've, at least from the conversation I've had with our Parks and Recs and other Parks and Recs recently, they've just haven't had the resources or the personnel to kind of organize it. And it's really that simple. So, I mean, it really just takes a volunteer to kind of change things around. So volunteering and being the change that you kind of want to see in that community. I think that's been the biggest takeaway that I've had from starting this.
I love it. I can't see it, but I actually have that tattoo on my arm right here. Be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that at all. He had no idea, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. Amazing stuff. Again, Lalo from La Comunidad and El Sereno, the LA area in California. Thanks so much, man, for taking the time to join us and talk about a little soccer and what you're doing in your community. But even more importantly, honestly, from me to you, we really appreciate everything you're doing. And I'm sure there's other people behind the scenes that we haven't even gotten to mention yet that help you, and all the great things you're doing to provide soccer opportunities, pick up soccer, and, low cost or free for kids in your community. I think that we both agree that's exactly what we need more in this country. So really appreciate it and keep up the great work. Make sure you check out La Comunidad. We'll put all the links and stuff below in the podcast and in all of our information. Make sure you give them a check on social media and go out in your community. And like he said, just takes a little hard work, get started, and every day keep moving forward. So Lalo, congrats. Thanks a lot.
No, man, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me out. I really love what you're doing, connecting all of these. Like I've learned from a lot of communities that you shared. So I mean, I appreciate anything that you guys been posting out there. Really do.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. And like we said, we try to do what we can. And again, check out down below the soccer neighborhood. Anyone can join, whether you have 4, 5, 6 kids in your community playing pickup soccer on a tennis court, one night a week, or whether you have a great organization like Lalo has going, anyone can join it. So make sure you hit us up also on Instagram. We'll get you on the way to being a partner, and you can be a part of the soccer neighborhood. Until next time, straight from the training ground.